Hi, my name is Josh Ewing. I seek to coach, inspire, and motivate musicians to grow and excel in doing what they love to do. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I want to encourage you to do so and ring that bell so you get notified of new content as it comes out. If you've never touched a keyboard before, then this course and the subsequent courses after that are definitely for you. We're going to be covering everything from the layout of the keyboard to note recognition, intervals, basic chords, scales, and so much more. Without further ado, let's get right into it. You know, the piano is a really versatile instrument. I mean, it's capable of providing harmony, melody, rhythm. You know, the piano belongs to the percussion family, actually, and so it's such a great instrument and so versatile in what it can do. And so the first concept we're going to go over today is we're going to go over some really basic things, but these are things that we're going to come back to uh, many times throughout the course. And the first thing we're really going to talk about is just how are we sitting at the piano. I mean, this is very elementary, but a very important concept, and something that you don't want to overlook. And so you really want to be sitting up straight. You don't want to be slouching. You want to be sitting up straight, um, shoulders relaxed. This is huge because if there's any tension in your shoulders, that's going to really translate down into your fingers and really affect um, just what you want to express on the instrument. It's amazing how much just a little bit of tension up here in your shoulders will inhibit what you want to do on the piano. And so that's really the first thing to keep in mind is just keeping a nice posture, back straight, shoulders relaxed, just being really aware of that as you um, are practicing, as you sit down to play, making sure that you're staying as relaxed as possible. The second thing that we want to talk about is just correct hand position. And so, really, if you can see my hand here, I've got kind of this C shape. You can kind of see here where I've got my index finger and my thumb. I almost imagine like I have I'm holding a ball really lightly in my hand, and and then even on the keyboard, we don't want to be flat fingered. Just a nice relaxed hand shape. You want to be able to feel your fingertips on the keyboard. Um, you don't want the flats of your the really the pads of your finger. You want your fingertip just to be in contact with the key surface, and so this is really important. And so these two things, again, they might seem elementary and not very applicable, but they're concepts that we're going to come back to quite a bit. Um, and it's even more important as you go along that you are aware of these things, that you're aware of tension, that you're aware of your hand shape and hand position as we get into more complex chords and passages and things like that. And so, really want to encourage you as you begin this journey that you're aware of these two things, really the posture and hand position. And so really be thinking about these principles when you sit down at the piano. Try to make a habit of just going through these two things when you sit down. And after a while, your body will just automatically know what's going on. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is how are the notes organized on the piano? And if you don't know, there are 88 keys on the piano. And if you've never played keyboard before, if you've sat down and you've been intimidated by the just all of the white keys and the black keys, rest assured it's not nearly as intimidating as it looks. It's actually very intuitive, And if you take a look at the keyboard, we've got our groups of 2 black keys and 3 black keys that are going to repeat all the way up and down the piano. And this is good news because the black keys, and we'll get into sharps and flats and things like that later on, but the black keys really help inform where our notes are on the piano in terms of our white keys. And so without trying to insult your intelligence, okay, we're going to talk about the music alphabet, which is basically just like our English alphabet, except when we get to the letter G, instead of moving on to H, we're going to be going back to the letter A. And so just to demonstrate on the piano real quick, we've got our A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we're going to repeat with A again, and the pattern continues up the piano. Okay, so going back to this idea of the black keys, we're going to begin to look at the group of our 2 black keys right here in the middle of the piano. Okay, and so this might seem like a kind of an elementary idea, but one of the great things about learning is when you can connect a visual image with a particular concept. And that's what we're going to do here. So if you take a look at your 2 black key group here, imagine that there's a roof right here. Okay, we're kind of making a little doghouse. Okay, and the dog's going to live in the middle here. Okay, there's D. This is our note D. So imagine that there's a little roof over top of these 2 black keys, and then we've got our dog living here. So our D is here, which puts our C here, and our E here. And so our 3 white key group, okay, around the 2 black key group. So if you locate this 2 black key group here, we have C, D, and E. Okay. Now this is true no matter where you are on the piano. All you gotta do is locate. Okay, if we went up to here. Okay, C, D. There's our D. Okay, there's our E right here. Okay, and there's our 3 white key grouping right there. And so one of the things you can do is to just sit down at your keyboard, just look at the keyboard, and as quickly as possible, just locate where those 3 notes are. It could be lower, it could be higher, and really the goal is to just try to identify those notes as quickly as possible. And so again, it's just that visual idea of thinking about that doghouse there, little roof on top, and then you've got your D in the middle. Okay. Next, we're going to look at our 4 black key group. I'm sorry, our 3 black key group, which our 4 white keys are going to surround. Okay. Now, again, thinking about something visual or thinking about a word, how a word connects to the note is really helpful. And that's what we're going to do here. So if you look at the 4 white key group here, our first note here, okay, think of the word first, and then the first letter of that word is F, okay, and that is an F. So we have F, and then if we just follow the music alphabet like we discussed earlier, we've got F, G, A, B, and then if you notice, when we go to the next white key, that brings us to our 3 white key grouping that we just talked about. And so when you put it all together, if we were to start with F again, we have F, G, A, B, C, D, E. And then again, we would start again with F. Okay? So no matter what letter name you start with, when you get to that letter name again, you're just going to keep on going, and the pattern repeats all the way up and down the piano. And so really the first thing that you want to start doing is get comfortable and get familiar with the notes on the keyboard. It's really like a map. And so you want to just sit down and be able to visually look anywhere on the piano and know, okay, this is an A, this is an E, this is a B, this is a D, so on and so forth. And that's super helpful as we get into scales and intervals and chords and all those different things. You don't want to be searching for a particular note. You want to just know that right away. And so remember, this is important. Learning an instrument, it's much like learning a new language. And so it just takes repetition, it takes practice. When you sit down, be thinking about posture, be thinking about hand position, and just repeat these things over and over again. And I encourage consistency as well. Just every day trying to just be consistent with these. They're basic. They might not seem helpful or that important to learning the piano, but I assure you they really are. And so that concludes our first session here with Intro to Keys. And so what I want you to do this week is get really comfortable with your notes. Sit down at the piano. Remember, 2 black key group makes that little doghouse. Your D's in the middle, okay? And you've got C, D, and E. Just locate all your C, D, and E groups up and down the piano. And then you've got your 3 black key group with your 4 white key group. Remember, first letter F. There's your F note right there. And so just go through, commit those notes to memory, have fun, and we'll see you in the next session.